Yes, well, welcome everybody. Good to see you. I'm sure you're disappointed to see me because you were probably expecting Ajahn Barry Subhaddo to be here, and I certainly was. Um, and unfortunately, he can't make it. I got an email from him on sometime on Monday, and he'd been ill. In fact, he'd been in hospital, really just for tests. They thought he might have a COVID, and he didn't have COVID, which was great. But there's something not quite right. He thought maybe food poisoning. The last time we spoke, he was awaiting the results of tests, and so he didn't want to commit to this evening, and that explains why I'm here and he's not. Anyway, good to be here. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Buddhist Society's basic meditation class. Basic meaning absolutely essential, not just for beginners, although they have a distinct advantage because they have no expectations, a lot of curiosity, but no expectations, which is really great. But but not just for beginners, but for like old timers like Ajahn Barry and me and some others. So very good. This is the last session before we have a little summer break. I'll say more about that later on. What we'll do is, I suggest, is what we usually do for the first few minutes. I'll give a bit of guidance, and then I may be able to think of a few tips, and then we can sit again, and then we can have any discussion or questions before 8 o'clock. So I said, complete beginners had a distinct advantage, and I really meant that because ideally, I shouldn't really deal in ideals, but ideally, a beginner comes along with a completely open mind. They have no idea. Well, they may know quite a bit about what meditation might be about. They have no idea about this class by definition. They haven't really been along. So they've got an open mind, and that's really a prerequisite for success in meditation. An open mind, an attitude of a gentle curiosity. So what's this about? What's this like? Oh, it's like that. It's like that. Interesting. Or, oh, it's a bit boring. That's interesting too. I mean, this kind of this attitude of open-minded curiosity is almost like a prerequisite for this practice of mindfulness. Mindfulness is being aware in the present moment. That's it. Much easier said than done. To me, it's a process of noticing but not attaching to things, noticing and letting go. To me, these are this is what it's all about to me. I don't know. You may have a different take on it, and other teachers will certainly talk about mindfulness in a different way. That's fine. Everybody who does this, if you like, everybody sitting at the front of a meditation class, comes along with their own experience of what this is about. But essentially, it's open-minded curiosity, noticing, but above all, this business to just, if you like, stay in the moment, not to try and, push away what comes along or extend what comes along. And that's the difficult bit. It's the letting go bit. And those of us who, know a bit about Buddhism, whatever that means, we know in the Buddha's teachings that grasping and clinging and hanging on to things, or the opposite, pushing away from things, is problematic. It's problematic. It leads to rebirth, or simply put, to habit reinforcement. It's that sort of story, really. If I wanted to pitch it in sort of contemporary terms, it's all about being able to let go of habits, I guess. Being able to let go of habits, or even replacing, rather unpleasant habits with more positive habits. But it's all about habits. studying what we're up to, or rather what the mind is up to. Investigation, in that gentle attitude, gentle curiosity. And it's like the simplest guidance I could give is just sit here and see what happens. That's it, really. Just sit here and see what happens. And what happens can, be anything. It can be anything external. I mean, I'm sitting here and it's quite a warm evening. I haven't seen a drop of rain all day, but it could be the clouds come over and the great clap of thunder, or it could be something completely internal. We could be sitting here and start worrying about something, or getting deeply in thought about the Buddha's teachings. So it's like, okay, well, that's interesting. Whatever happens is grist for the mill, because when you look at it and then maybe back off a bit and not attached to it, being aware. So they talk about bare attention, open-minded attention, being the knowing what's going on, noticing the storyline, noticing but not attaching. And so this practice, this nature study, is helped. It's just something you can do at any time. We can do it anytime, anywhere, actually. I think if Ajahn Barry was here, he'd be encouraging us to, to think of life, as it were, daily life as being one long attitude for opportunity for cultivating mindfulness. And he's completely right. The real McCoy, the real deal, is can we do this when we're not sitting in front of a laptop? Get up and do ordinary everyday stuff, and we still be mindful. But this is just this is a special occasion. It's like it's practice. It's practicing for the big match. The big match, is what we're doing at 8 o'clock tonight or 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. That's when it really matters. But training is pretty handy. We want to. It does require effort, special kind of effort, and it does require practice. So this is more like formal practice. And remember, when I say formal practice, there's great tendencies to stiffen up. It's special. There are things I've got to master. Well, isn't it? I don't know. It's a debating point. But if we're going to study things, it's good. It's good to get in sort of study mode, nature study. I think I talked about, our national treasure, David Attenborough. He's watching a butterfly or whatever, and he's still, he's quiet, but he's alert. So a suggestion for a posture is one that's still and stable and alert, but not tense, relaxed. It's relaxed and alert. Alert and relaxed. Alert, and that encourages this noticing, doesn't it? And that's a bit of a challenge tonight. There again, if you're coming to this class, pretty much anywhere in the UK this evening, it's like it's pretty hot, and at 6:30 on a pretty hot evening, it's quite easy to not to be terribly attentive. Actually, that's just nature, by the way. This is nature study. Just notice the effects of a hot day on how we feel. You feel like we do. Let's bear attention, just like this. And you notice the difference between sort of saying, it's hot, and it's too hot. Or I wish this hot spell would finish. It's so easy, isn't it, to sort of slip away from the way things are right now into a commentary or a judgment about things. And that's not necessary. I'm talking about maybe breaking old habits, or at least breaking old habits, observing old habits, getting friendly with old habits, and then we can make a more informed judgment about what we do about it, which might be doing nothing. I don't know. So it's like the way it is today, 6:30, 6:40, pretty warm where I am. Right? So we set up the body, still, alert, attentive, and then absolutely relaxed posture as well, or comfortable, a comfortable posture. One that's easily, sustainable for a bit. Not rigid, but balanced. I'm going to fidget for just a moment because I'm not quite balanced on my chair. It's a balancing act, isn't it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, pretty stable. And then I can bring the attention to the body and just check it out. We don't have to tense up in this practice. If we've got the balance right, balancing act is just beautiful, because if you're not balanced, you've got to tense up to correct going to the left or to the right or whatever. But you've got the balance right to begin with. It's easy. It's easy to sit like this and be alert, but relaxed at the same time. And so I do suggest we bring the attention into the body. Now, when Ajahn Barry is teaching, I know he does if you like, a full body scan. Great practice. Tonight, what I do is whenever I sit, the first thing I do is just bring attention to sensations in the body. And rather than, start with the little toe on the left foot and work all the way up through the body in minute detail, I just notice large sensations you can't miss. And let's start with the heat. If you're feeling heat, feel warmth. There's warmth on the skin. I have a little fan on, so I note the breeze in here. And then the sensations actually in the body, the feeling of sitting, my feet on the floor. I'm breathing, and in the first instance, I notice the movement of the breath in the belly, the pressure of the waistband as I breathe in and out. I'm contemplating my navel. And my hands are touching something, and hands are very sensitive. It might be a bit clammy, I don't know, but there's pressure of the hands. I park them somewhere. You can put them in a lovely mudra, a nice gesture, or just park them on the lap, out of the way. To study that butterfly or that bird, we don't want to fidget around. Let's park the hand somewhere. And we notice the shoulders, perhaps. Any tension there? Now you see, this is a great practice for relaxation and meditation aren't quite the same thing, but there's nothing wrong with relaxing, actually. And the way I relax is when I notice I'm not relaxed. So if there's tension in the shoulders, or a bit of anxiety in the guts, in the stomach, I can relax a little bit. And then it's disappeared. Then it comes back again. You notice that? It's quite okay to monitor the body, to notice sensations. And if the jaw is a bit clamped shut, you don't have to. Notice that. If you don't want to, relax. So, big sensations, feet, and if we're on the floor, all the legs, the knees and whatnot, the hips, the breath in the body, in the belly, the hands touching something, feelings in the shoulders, in the head, the lips touching, saliva in the mouth, warmth on the skin of the face, eyes either closed or half closed, sensations around the eyes, ears, maybe nothing remarkable about sensations in the ears. Now notice we may have opinions about the ears. I'm not interested in that. We don't have to be interested in what we think of ourselves tonight. We just have to observe these kind of crude, basic sensations. Forehead. I hope nobody is kind of trying too hard This is not a practice of furrowing the brow. If you want to, it's okay, but that's not what mindfulness is all about. It's noticing that energy to, to whatever, to concentrate. No, don't do that. Just relax, let go. Bring the attention from somewhere like, where you notice a sensation, a strong sensation in the hands, for example, to the top of the head. Strong sensation. Any sensation on the top of the head? I always find it interesting to note the feeling of no feeling. It's interesting, isn't it? A sort of a space, a gap. It's just awareness of just awareness. Just awareness, isn't it? There's no sensation. It's awareness. Wow, that's unusual. It's like with a sound. If you're sitting somewhere with a bit of noise, there's hearing. But then when the noise goes away, there's silence. You notice I was listening to silence. It's interesting, isn't it? There's nothing to hear. There's awareness there still. And that's fascinating. So we're just sitting here and seeing what happens. Being aware of sensations or being aware of a lack of sensations. Breath on the nostrils. In breath, out breath. Lips touching. Throat, neck, shoulders. How are the arms feeling? Pretty warm, probably. Touch of the clothing, shirt on the arms. Armpits? Elbows. Hands are very sensitive, they're touching something. Great practice, actually, if we're sitting with upturned palms, is to spend 40 minutes with the attention in the palm of one hand. Up to the shoulders again. Any sensation in the back at all? Or the sides of the body? Any stiffness there or ease? I usually try and tuck the small of the back in a little bit. It sort of opens up the chest a bit. It sort of discourages me from slumping, I guess. Down to the coccyx. Sitting there, yeah, pressure. Maybe the buttocks pressing against the chair. Up to the front of the body, across the collarbone. Scan the shoulders, across the back, across the scapula. I find it useful again just to scan the body across the front, the shoulders, across the collarbone. There again, instinctively, when I do that, I sort of open up a bit more. It's a rather easier, it's a more alert posture. A funny kind of way, when you let go of tension, you feel more energized, actually, rather than nodding off to sleep. Breathing in the chest, the rib cage now expanding and contracting. Touch of the shirt on the chest. Delving inside the rib cage. Going a bit quieter and picking up the pulse. Heartbeat. Dropping down into the abdomen. The breath in the belly. Into the pelvic area, and the hips. Pressure of sitting. To the legs, the left leg, the right leg. Maybe nothing much if we're sitting on a chair, but if we're on the floor, there's quite a lot going on there, isn't there? Around the knees, the back of the knees, the kneecaps, lower legs, the calves, the shins. Quite anatomical. The feet, Achilles area, and the heels, the arch of the foot, the ball of the foot, the toes, the back of the foot, and so on and so on and so on. And it's a good practice just to scan the body. You know, that's the practice. Mindfulness of the body from top to toe, toe to top, up and down, noticing whatever there is or there isn't there to notice. And noticing also the tendency to make a judgment about it all. You know, male or female, this gender or that gender, or age, or ethnicity. I haven't mentioned any of that. You know, what a relief. I can form opinions about all that lot. Well, there's enough on my plate, just noticing pressure on my backside from sitting on this chair. Or the warmth of the hands. And then, how's the mood this evening? Upbeat, downbeat, happy, sad. So tight, open, peaceful and calm, or just the opposite. From the point of view of mindfulness meditation, actually, it's just like looking at the body and saying, oh, there's not a lot of sensation there, or there's a bit of tension, you know, in your knee, or whatever it is. So it's the same with the mood, really. And then we're aware of thinking. And this is not a practice of suppressing thoughts. If we could, but it's not that. It would be daft to, you know, sort of wish our pulse was something different. Well, it might, you know, had a medical condition, I suppose, we'd be monitoring our pulse. You know, but the breath looks after itself on the whole. The heart keeps beating away. And the mind keeps thinking. And we just observe all of that stuff. Yeah, there we go. And during a course of a few minutes meditation, we just notice that the attention will wander. That's what the attention does do. And that well-known mindfulness meditator, David Attenborough, just watches the monkey mind going places in that kind of friendly way. And just catches the monkey, noticing the monkey. Okay, the attention's wandered, no problem. Let go of where it's gone. Point the attention back to, aha, the meditation object, which could be the breath, feeling of breathing, the ordinary breath. It could be sensations in the body. Of course, the breath is a sensation in the body. It could be the sound of silence. You know, what's the sound? And there's no, what's the sound of silence, actually? And there's no sound from outside. What internal sound is there? Don't get hung up on it. But it's there if you want to use it. Mantra. Buddha, Buddha. May I be well, may others be well. The feeling of the rosary beads, the mala beads. That's our anchor. That's our little base. So when the attention wanders, we pay attention to the attention. We let go and we point the attention back to, let's say, the feeling of the breath. Breathing in, breathing out. Mind wanders, okay, that's what it does. Don't let it go too far. Notice that. Wandering mind, thinking mind, fantasizing, planning. Notice any emotion that goes along with it. Notice and let go and redirect the attention back to the next in-breath or the next out-breath. Time and time again. Requires a lot of patience, you know. until we get, we actually discover that letting the attention rest on the breath is, dare I say it, enjoyable. It's pleasant in a very, non-sensational way. In breath, out breath. Not much stimulation there to get excited about, is there? And that's why it's quite difficult, actually, because the monkey likes to be stimulated. But we're sort of training things a little bit. Monkey, don't hang on to that thought or that memory or that plan. Let go. Let your attention rest on the breath. In breath. It's okay to be a little bit curious about the breath. So deeper, shallower, longer, shorter. We're observing it. We're not controlling it really at all. Tranquilizing and non-stimulating. Noticing letting go. And if by chance we notice that we've let go of the breath and that the attention hasn't wandered anywhere else, there's just attention, there's just noticing there, that's interesting. Being aware, full stop. please take this opportunity to shift around, to stand up, to wriggle, have a glass of water. So there's going to be a break for a few weeks. I think we begin again September the 9th. So it's kind of like a summer holiday. And I certainly think the folks at the Buddhist Society deserve a summer holiday. Odin and Wongdu, who's behind the scenes tonight, making it all happen, and Lavinia, who's been very helpful. They deserve a bit of a break. And if we want to, and if we can have a holiday. So I want to talk about summer holidays. Or at least a holiday of the heart. Now, what's all that about? A holiday of the heart. Why that? Well, I'm sure most of us here have heard about Ajahn Subhaddo, the Amaravati Buddhist monastery, and Barry and I and Sundara, Ajahn Sundara the other day. He's had a huge influence on our lives. An American, also a British citizen, trained in Thailand, and is a fine teacher. And he often talks about his teacher, now deceased, Ajahn Chah, Thai man, a Thai master, meditation master. And Ajahn Subhaddo often talks about Ajahn Chah, so describing meditation as being a holiday of the heart. Meditation is a holiday of the heart. Get a load of that. A holiday is, I don't know about you, but a holiday is a time for enjoyment, of ease, of relaxation. That's my idea of a holiday. And there's Ajahn Chah talking about meditation as being a holiday of the heart. Now, it's not a holiday for me, to be honest, would not be the vertical ascent of a mountain. It would not be. As I said, I've described it in terms of relaxation, of ease. Yeah, that's my idea of a holiday. And I sort of say that because I think some of us have a more driven attitude of meditation. Something I've got to do to get somewhere. And look at that, I've got to get somewhere to do something. Yes, on a real life holiday, I've got to get myself packed and down to, for the sake of argument, Heathrow in order to get on a plane and then and then relax. That sort of thing. But a lot of us, approach meditation in this very sort of goal-orientated kind of way. And I remember way back in the midst of time when I first started going to this class all that time ago at the Buddhist Society, go down to the tea room at the Buddhist Society before the class, and be, half a dozen guys, and they mainly were guys there who were going to a different class altogether. And they were not just having a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, but, there was in those days people smoked. Even in the Buddhist Society, they smoked. So they were down there, and they were psyching themselves up to go to a meditation class. And it was like, to me, it was the nearest thing like going to an exam, There was a lot of, I don't know what it is, anticipation. It was sort of a pressure cooker type of atmosphere. We're going to go and do something, and it's going to be very stressful, and I've got to have a cigarette to calm my nerves. That was a very sort of masculine type kind of thing there. I don't remember seeing any women there at all. There probably were, but it was like, this is what I've got to do. It's tough. I've got to strive in the next however long the class was, an hour or something. I've got to strive to get something. And that, we sort of view meditation as being getting something somewhere. It's sort of like the Olympics, and once we get into that mode, we've got to be the best. We've got to get a gold medal in this. It's that sort of attitude of striving, of getting something somewhere, which obviously we haven't got. We're imperfect, and we've got to do something about it. I mean, the problem about that is, it's not actually a very helpful attitude towards meditation, at least not in my book. And I want you just to take a little look at that Buddha image. I hope it's all up on your screen, because up on mine, that's a lovely Buddha image. I think it's either, well, I guess it's probably Burmese Buddha image there. And the point about that is, you notice the gesture of that Buddha image there. The Buddha is just kind of sitting there under the Bodhi tree, just realizing full and complete liberation from suffering. And with his right hand, he is touching the ground. That's what he's doing, actually, in the sutras. He's touching the ground there, you see. Now, what's all that about? Well, there's a long story, which I'll spare you. But he'd been kind of tempted by Mara's demons and daughters and Lord knows what, all sorts of temptations. And he sort of said, I know your game, Mara. And he called the earth to witness his enlightenment. That's what he's doing there. He's touching the earth. He's calling the earth to witness, because it's natural. Far from being something out there that we've got to get sometime, the natural state of the mind is our nature. Everybody here, in fact, whether they're here or not, has that potential to realize the pure, open state, liberated state of the mind. There's nothing to get. You got to just do it, that's all. We got to sit down and see what happens. Which is what I've been trying to encourage. Just be aware of whatever. Particularly if there's nothing to be aware of. Just be aware. Just notice and not attach. And the analogy that I like is just like going to the movies. Just go to the movies. Without any prior judgment, really, and just see what happens. And in particular, notice the screen where all the action is taking place. It's not something you've got to strive to do. Maybe it does require a special posture, a particular time of day, but it's realizing our own natural state of the mind, just like that the Buddha is doing in that image. It's natural. He's calling Mother Nature to witness enlightenment. His enlightenment, but we've all got that potential. So one thing to do to make our meditation practice more of a holiday is just to take a slightly different attitude towards it. Not about, got to go somewhere to get it, that sort of attitude. It's not that. It's more like setting up conditions so it can be realized, made real, made aware of the natural state of the mind. Now, that's simple, but it's difficult. Of course it is. And sometimes it's too difficult. This analogy of going to the movies and watching a film, it's like, it can be like I'm saying we should go to the movies and watch a really horrible movie. And it's a horrible movie about, involving because we identify memories, emotions, fears, guilt, all of that stuff. They can be completely horrible. And so for some people, I'd say, don't do it. Do not do it, right? Good Buddhists do not have to drive themselves mad by looking at horrible, horrible movies. They really don't. In fact, I remember when I first started going to Thailand and all of that, lay people in Thailand at that time thought that meditation was not for ordinary lay people, it was for monks. It was for monks. Because they thought terrible things could happen. But lay people started messing around with this. But they were still good Buddhists. You can be a good Buddhist without doing any meditation at all. I can keep the precepts. So this is a great time for being, a good person, helping other people and helping ourselves at the same time. So rather than driving yourself crazy, and I'm quite serious about this because meditation is not suitable for some people, but you can still be a good Buddhist, as simple as that. But, a bit better is like, yeah, it's a horrible movie. But what? So what I'd suggest is we might change the form of meditation if we find ourselves seemingly overwhelmed by these emotions and horrible thoughts and fears and all the rest of it. These unpleasant, unhelpful emotional states. And there are a number of things we can do. One is get physical. How does anger, guilt, anxiety feel in the body? There's a very refined practice of sitting here and watching, being aware of attention to the breath. Very refined. And it's easy to be overwhelmed, by thinking and memory and whatnot if we're doing just mindfulness of the breath. So bringing attention to the body, how does the body feel when all this emotional, all this mental stuff is going on up top? Do walking meditation. It's pretty difficult, really, if we're paying attention to something as kind of clunky as taking a step and then another step. It's like it's more difficult, for the monkey mind to start obsessing about the past or the future if we're doing walking meditation. Or use a mantra. So a lot of us think thoughts. Think thoughts verbally. I'm a verbal thinker. So why don't we start thinking deliberately, thinking other thoughts, like may I be well, may others be well, Buddho, Buddho, Om Mani Padme Hum. Use a mantra instead. And remember, it is just a horrible movie. It's that attitude of it. Yes, it's a horrible movie. But just don't take it personally. That's all it is. It's not me. It's horrible stuff. We'll call it a memory. We'll call it a fear. We'll call it, guilt or regrets. But it's just a movie. It's just on the screen there. And with the screen, actually, take the position of the screen. Don't take all the action on the movie personally. And I was at the Theravada class on Monday, and Ajahn Sundra, Sister Sundra, was taking a class, and she was great. You have to understand, she's a senior nun, I think, at Amravati right now, and she's been a nun for, Lordy, I don't know, her master, 30 years, maybe more than that. And her attitude is like, I may mess up, I may not be wonderful, it's like, but it's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be, it's like this, just aware, just attentive, and not take it personally. And I thought she was a very good, if you like, a very good exemplar of that, with her whole attitude, which was one of, she's perfectly, content in her own skin. She's a happy person because she's not taking it all personally. She's a senior nun, and so what? So what? And I think that's a great attitude. Anyway, let's do a bit more meditation right now. And I shall say less. So we're going to go to the movies, and whatever comes up on the screen is okay. Just watch the action. Notice, let go. Watch the action. Notice, let go. Interesting movie, horror movie, love story, hate story. Comes and it goes. With sights and sounds. Nothing sticks around for long. Back to the breath, with the mantra, or the sound of silence. But don't take it personally. Just be aware, of the impersonal container in which all this stuff is going on. There's the mind. In Buddhism, there's the mind and the contents of the mind. It's like the mind, contains the contents of the mind. The screen supports the action of the movie. Notice the screen. Notice the mind as much as the contents of the mind. Nothing personal there at all. Setting up the body. Supportive posture, alert, relaxed posture. Notice sensations in the body. Notice sensations in the mind. Bring the attention back to the meditation object. The in-breath, the out-breath. Simple sensations in the body. The sound of silence. And just noticing the little impulses of that monkey mind to wander off somewhere. That's interesting, isn't it? You know, this is our equivalent of the David Attenborough movie, actually. He's watching the monkey on the screen, and why don't we do the same thing? Like gentle curiosity, but not a lot of engagement. Why don't we engage with it? That's interesting. That's interesting. Just awareness there. So the real holiday of the heart is just not to take any of this stuff personally. Just don't take it personally. It's a great way of spending a few weeks in the summer. And if you'd like to have a holiday of the heart, and that's kind of difficult. There's a lot of negativity. A bit of loving kindness might help. A bit of metta practice. Seems a great time to wish ourselves well, wish others well. A great cure for negativity, critical self-judgment, anxiety. Breathing in, may I be well, may I be happy. Breathing out, the others. Who are these others? Well, all sentient beings, but that's just an abstract concept, isn't it? Who are these others to whom we wish good things? Well, the answer is our nearest and dearest, people we love, people we like, people who've helped us, people to whom we feel grateful. We know who they are, and it's a delight to wish them all the very best. Holiday greetings, but to ourselves particularly. We can only share with these good friends, these good helpers, teachers, family or whatever. We can only share with them what we have ourselves. We bring to mind our own good qualities. Good people deserve good things. Wish ourselves good things. Be well. Have good health. Be happy. Be free from stress and anxiety. May others share these good wishes. Well, we begin again on September the 9th, this class. Actually, on Friday, that's tomorrow, the lunchtime meditation class is still on tomorrow. And I'm not clear about this myself, but there's usually one on Sunday morning as well. And I'm not sure whether that's on or not, but do check on the website. And talking about the website, I mean, if you're looking for a bit of help during the summer holidays, and of course we've all got I was going to say the resources. That sounds a bit sort of pretentious, but everybody here has got the resources needed for, a holiday of the heart. Got a body, got a mind, somewhere to practice. But if you need a bit of extra help, go to the Buddhist Society website, and all manner of good stuff there. I mean, just for the record, apparently all of these classes we've been having have been recorded. You can have a look at it there. And there's loads of other stuff that's recorded, talks and so on. What else? Oh, look, holiday reading. People typically sit on a beach and read a book or 10. We may not be sitting on a beach, but there's this book, a great book by Ajahn Subhaddo. He's got many, but of course there's one called Don't Take Your Life Personally. Don't Take Your Life Personally. A great title, actually, if you think about it. And that's really lovely stuff there. So, and you can get that on Kindle if you do Kindle, or I think it's available in paperback. Don't Take Your Life Personally by Ajahn Subhaddo. Yeah, if you wanted one good Buddhist book to read over the break, I mean, do have a look at that. And then, I mean, I have to sort of mention Ajahn Subhaddo again. He's a resident now, back up at Amravati, the monastery, but to all intents and purposes, the monastery is closed for outside visitors for good COVID reasons. So they have to be very careful there. But he gives regular talks and question and answer sessions. And it's all videoed and it's all online again. So if you go to the Amravati website, you can very easily, find his talks and his question and answer sessions. And, even if his talks seem to be about kind of Buddhist principles and all that, he brings everything has got like even an implicit, meditative aspect for meditation. It's great stuff. And he's very clear and pretty wise as well. So that's Ajahn Subhaddo at Amravati. And then talking about Amravati, every Saturday afternoon, there's a meditation workshop at Amravati at 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock or whatever. And of course, these days, it's all being done by Zoom online. And you can go to the Amravati website and look at their calendar, and you can, track through and click onto the website, for the workshop on a Saturday afternoon. And because, I mean, the great thing about all the Zoom stuff is you can just, be naughty, as it were, go along, click on it. If you don't like it, and go somewhere else. Nobody knows. So do have a look at what's going on at Amravati. And I really recommend that afternoon workshop. It'll be one of the monks or nuns teaching it. So that's great. So there's the Buddhist Society, all the resources there. There's Ajahn Subhaddo's book. There's lots of talks and videos and whatnot, and then the workshops at Amravati. And I mean, I'm just pointing you in the direction of Amravati because it's the one I know best. I mean, must be loads and loads of other Buddhist centers out there which are offering things for meditators to get involved in. And one other thing is I don't know whether you like CDs these days, but if you like, I'll tell you what this is, which is not a bad image. Anyway, I'll tell you. there's this guy called John Kabat-Zinn. There he is. John Kabat-Zinn is an American lay teacher, and he's a Buddhist, but he keeps that under his hat because he's big in promoting mindfulness practice, as a secular practice. And he's got these great CDs here, mindfulness meditation. They're guided meditation. And there again, I'm not saying they're the best or anything like that. I'm sure if you look for guided mindfulness meditation CDs, you'll be overwhelmed by how many there are out there. But I mean, I found these very helpful actually, and during the the depths of the lockdown, like, where's the camera gone? There we go. No, you can't see it. But these were the CDs I had sent into the prisons for the guys in jail, if they wanted to could get a bit of help in jail. So there you go. Questions, comments, anything like that, please feel free to chat away, either unmic. Wongdu, can everybody unmic if they want to? So either, do it the normal human way or send a chat through.
Yes, they can unmute now.
Great. Can you keep an eye on, and that's lovely. Wongdu, can you keep an eye on the chat just in case I miss it? And make
sure. Yeah.
Okay. So any questions at all? Or comments or anything? I must say that I was very apprehensive at the beginning of the, back in last September, about doing sort of online meditation classes. From my point of view, actually, it's been quite easy, and I wasn't expecting that at all. And a lot of this is it's just not my scene, it really isn't. But it's gone very well, and obviously, I mean, the great thing is that many more people can come along to these classes and would come along in normal times to the Buddhist Society. So I think that's really great, and I'm particularly grateful to Wongdu this evening and the others at the Buddhist Society for making this happen. And I'm very pleased. I mean, I'm very pleased about this. And people are sort of asking, well, what's going to happen after the break? And the truth is, nobody knows. That's the honest truth. Believe me, Boris doesn't know. If Boris doesn't know, nobody at the Buddhist Society is going to know, are they really? So in other words, it's like, I mean, actually, good Buddhist practice is like, how do we handle uncertainty? Everything's subject to change. So the honest answer is nobody quite knows. But I'm pretty sure that we're going to continue with this class, and I suspect many other classes online. Richard Bober, who teaches us once a month, has said he's happy to continue like this. And I was going to get Barry on board, Barry Ash and Barry Subhaddo this evening, but I mean, I'm not going to. I'll drop him an email over the weekend, a get well soon sort of message, and ask him if he's happy continuing like this. So I think, we'll continue like this. And as I say, I'm guessing that the society will continue doing things this way with all its classes, or maybe with what they call blended teaching as well. I don't know. I have no idea. So, and just keep your eye on the website and see what's going on. Anyway, September the 9th is, for me at any rate, next time I'm back here, whatever that means. So any questions, discussion, anything like that? Any other tips, help, resources needed to get us through the horrors of for 6 weeks or whatever when there's no Thursday meditation class. Do feel free to ask. Oh yeah, somebody. Sorry.
Colin, yeah, I just want to say I've joined in the class for a few weeks, different times, and I've really enjoyed it. So a big thank you to you for what you've done. And also, yes, Ajahn Barry. And I have gone back and listened to some of Ajahn Barry's talks and on the Buddhist website. And, it's very good, everything that's on there. Also, what you say about Ajahn Subhaddo, yeah, fully agree about his talks. And if anyone hasn't found the Dharma Seed website, there's a lot more on there of Ajahn Subhaddo's older talks, which are really interesting as well, and a lot about the meditation. And the other person I'd recommend is Bhikkhu Analayo.
I know him.
That you find from the Bar Centre in Massachusetts, but that's all online. If you just Google Bhikkhu Analayo, and he's got a huge amount of free online guided meditations across a lot of. He does the whole Satipatthana Sutta, which is really good.
Yeah, and just let me interrupt for a minute. So his name is spelled Analayo.
Ayo.
Analayo. Yeah, okay.
Analayo. Analayo.
That's right. And I don't know him personally, but if I reached over to my bookshelf up there, I've got 3 of his books, and on the basis of what I read, he's a good man, right?
Yeah. The Satipatthana meditations are excellent if people are interested in those, but he's got the basic ones on mindfulness as well.
Yeah, that's good. And I'm glad you had a look at the Buddhist Society's website, because to tell the truth, I've never gone to the Buddhist Society's website and looked for anything like these talks, these sessions here. It's like, well, it's not. But you've been there and you've seen, and it's okay. We've
it's
done
fine. I think I did Ajahn Barry's second session with you when you came on board, so I found him fascinating. So I went back and listened to the first one.
Right.
And they're all there.
Good. That's excellent to know that. And somebody's just sent through a message on chat, which is, please send regards and best wishes to Ajahn Barry, which of course I will do. And somebody says, these classes have been, really helpful during, these are pretty challenging times, aren't they? They really are. And strictly between you and me, I don't see them getting any less challenging in the near future. I really don't. And so something like, metta practice, which, it's a great thing, when there's a lot of anxiety, for example, and quite right too. There's a lot of anxiety out there. We don't know what's going to happen, and we need to sort of look after ourselves and care for other people. And something like metta practice, right? Which is not, to me, it's a very honest practice. Actually, I really wish myself good things. I really wish you all good things. I really wish Barry good things. That's a great, and it's a great antidote to the negative. I can very easily get into a negative frame of mind. And this is not putting on rose-tinted spectacles. This is a balancing things out. There's a lot of, unhappy stuff out there, so we can try and balance it out with our practice. Yeah. And I'm sure Barry would be saying things like, he's very resistant to a sort of a too formulaic an approach to meditation practice, and he's right like that. It's like it's all about just being mindful. It's like, what's this practice all about? It's just being mindful, being open and mindful, full stop, in everything we do. Simple, isn't it? But that's what this practice is. Just be aware, be mindful. Another, look, you folks are being very helpful. Yes, Chitta, somebody's saying they do that's right. A live stream guided meditation on YouTube every Wednesday evening. Right. Chitta, Chithurst. It's not a Theravada. outfit. Actually, is anybody out there? So we've got Analayo, and we've got Chithurst, and we've got Amravati, and these are all kind of Theravadan outfits. And it's like, I'm a bit of a Theravadan myself, but that doesn't mean that other Buddhist traditions haven't got a teeny weeny bit to offer. Far from it. Far from it. Does anybody know any online offerings? I guess it really is online stuff. Online offerings from any of the other traditions. Great to put them up so we can see this. Anything else at all? I mean, any other questions or comments? Yes, Chithurst on Wednesdays. And I think, by the way, on Barry Subhaddo, earlier on a Thursday, he leads a meditation class for the Golden Buddha Center, which is based in Totnes. There again, Dick and Dinah and Ruth are some old friends. I mean, there's a whole kind of gang of us that go back quite a long way. And if you go down to Totnes, which used to be the New Age capital of the UK, but anyway, never mind that. There's a lot of Buddhism down in Totnes. And there's the Golden Buddha Center. And Ajahn Barry does a meditation earlier in the day before he does this one. And I have no idea whether Golden Buddha is going to keep going during the summer or whether they're going to take a break too. There's only one way to find out. Look at this. Valentina has sent me something for Zen practice. Great. Now this is good. She recommends Henry Shukman and his Mountain Cloud Zen Center on YouTube. Now there you go. Right, the Mountain Cloud Zen Center. Right. Thank you very much for that, Valentina. Mountain Cloud, I must make a note of that. Mountain Cloud Zen Center. That has to be in the United States of America. Yes, I'm sure of that. Anything on the Tibetan Buddhist front that we've got on offer? There's a chap called the Dalai Lama. I bet you could listen to a few talks of the Dalai Lama online. My only real contact there is somebody I've been trying to get to teach this class, and she's a she. And gosh, there again, she's part of the whole gang. We go back a long, long way. Before she was a nun, she would come to the Buddha. She's Spanish, and she used to be a diplomat at the Spanish embassy in London and doing a PhD on something English at the same time. And she'd come to the Buddhist Society to sit in on the Thursday meditation class. So we knew each other way, way, way back. And then she gave all that up, except the Buddhist bit, and became a Buddhist nun, just like Ajahn Sundara, down at Chithurst. And then she moved back to Amravati and helped Ajahn Sumedho big time setting things up at Amravati. She was his right-hand woman, nun. But I mean, because she used to be an administrator, so she knows how to run things. Which is, I mean, she didn't ordain to run monasteries, but these things happen, right? And then maybe she got a bit burnt out. I don't know. But then she moved to Asia and she found herself in Burma, training in Burma. There again, a Theravada tradition, but a slightly different sort of practice. And then she found herself in India, and the Dalai Lama sees somebody who's really rather competent as well. And before she knows it, she is teaching a lot of Westerners want to ordain with the Dalai Lama, but there's sort of a sifting process. you know. So Sister Jyotika, who's quite a tough nut, you know, is the person who, you know, would do the pre-ordination course for the Dalai Lama. In the course of all of this, he sends her off to Taiwan. So having been starting off as like a Theravada 10 precept nun, she then becomes a bhikshuni in Mahayana Buddhism, and she's a Gelugpa nun ordained by the Dalai Lama. And now she's got her own place in Spain. And we visited there, so she lives. It's quite interesting, this sort of Iberian connection. So we've got Ajahn Barry living down in his cave house in Spain, and then Jyotika, my friend Jyotika, who is a Tibetan nun, and she's on a mountainside in the Extremadura region of Spain. And I unashamedly have asked her if she'd like to teach this class. And she says she'd love to, but there's just one catch. You know, she most weeknights, she is teaching online in Spanish to her students. She can't do it, which is great pity because of her, you know, kind of long time involvement with the Buddhist Society. She was very good about all of this stuff. So I can't sign her up. But you know, she is as so she is. If you saw her, she'd be dressed as a Tibetan Gelugpa nun. But you know, don't forget where she started from. And I think, you know, a lot of us, you know, although we've got a little badge saying Tibetan Buddhism or Zen Buddhism or, you know, Amravati groupie or whatever, I mean, we've learned from a lot of other people on the way. And I remember very clearly the first time I visited Sister Jyotika's place in Spain. And that was when, you know, there were real live people supporters coming to her classes on the mountainside there. We'd begin the evening puja and meditation. She'd play a tape or a CD or something of the Amravati nuns chanting in Pali and then in English. And this was for Spanish people who were coming up to a Tibetan monastery. Oh, it was all completely delightful. And it seemed to make a lot of sense to me. But so there you go. It is this cliche about different paths up the same mountain. Any other recommend? I'm really grateful to you folks for pointing out these other resources that we could go to. And I'd recommend you going to Sister Jyotika's website, except it's all in Spanish. Well, if not, I'm going to wish you a very happy holiday of the heart. And you'll have a good time, you know. That's what it's all about. And just, you know, please look after yourselves and look after other people. It's really great. You know, I think we should congratulate ourselves on, you know, on doing what we can. And often what we can is, you know, we're working on ourselves, but at the same time, that's a blessing to other people as well. And all this stuff about the virus, I mean, you know, yeah, these are challenging times. And I mean, I remember, you know, going back now, whatever it was, 12 months, 13 months, 14 months, the last time I was teaching at Amravati or their workshops. And that was just after, you know, people had woken up to the fact there was this nasty thing around called COVID. And we'd have these Saturday afternoon workshops there, and this was live. And, you know, I went there, it must have been back end of February of last year, for one of the last ones of these that were live. And you know, a little bit apprehensive about things. And being Amravati, meticulous about putting out hand sanitizers and this, that, and the other. But that was way before, you know, social distancing and 6 meters and all this stuff. So, you know, we'd go in, wash our hands, and we'd sit there, and, you know, there'd be 40 people in this room, and a bit of coughing and spluttering. Nothing to worry about. But I mean, we got the message then about, you know, I was all about hands and don't touch your face. So it's like I was saying, it was semi-joke, but I was talking about meditation practice as don't touch your face. And then I might say, and don't touch other people's faces, which is to lighten things up a little bit, but don't touch your face. And that was mindfulness practice. And isn't that I thought was, because I was doing it myself, and how difficult that is, because instinctively, we all touch our faces many times an hour. And, you could try this now. I mean, not because of the pandemic, because we've all been multiply jabbed and this and that and the other, all the rest of it. But it's like, don't touch your face first thing in the morning when you wake up. You're all bleary-eyed, And the most natural thing in the world. Don't do it, And this is, and the Buddha encourages his monks, his disciples, to do this practice 24/7. He really did, 24/7. That's a big ask, but it's like, don't touch your face when you wake up in the morning. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? So anyway, look, all sorts of good stuff is coming through. Look, you are really a great team. So, okay, Wongdu, good old Wongdu, who's masterminding this on the techie side. So, okay, right, there's a series of lectures on the Bodhisattva path, and that's on the Buddhist, and that's been delivered by BA's been done this. These are the Ringu. Oh no, this is from Rob Anderson. Oh, there you are. Thank you very much, Bob. Thanks, Bob. Yeah. So this is all coming through, and some of it says from Wongdu, and some of it says no. So Bob, that's great. And you thought they were good, yeah? Just give me a thumbs up.
Yeah, no, these are excellent.
Good. Okay. Great.
But you may need a copy of this book here, which is The Way of the Bodhisattva.
Okay.
You can get it on Amazon, So that accompanies a series of lectures.
Great.
It's a
thanks. Yeah.
Sorry, yes, but it's a really, really good series of lectures by Ringu Tulku Rinpoche, and very illuminating and very, very, very practical.
Well, thanks for recommending that. And they're on the Buddhist Society website. So just draw around there. That's great. And then Catherine has sent to me, oh, this is great. Thich Nhat Hanh, you see. That's good. And this is the community of interbeing, isn't it? And I've sat a retreat with Thich Nhat Hanh, and he's a lovely teacher, you see. And he's absolutely fascinating. I mean, I was sort of hinting different paths up the mountain, how we're all influenced by everybody else, all the rest of it. And Thich Nhat Hanh, comes across as being Vietnamese Zen. And then a lot of his stuff, his teachings, are just straight Theravada Buddhism. They really are. It's all mindfulness. I recognize that. So that's another way of doing it. And then Catherine is saying to me, Catherine is, oh, there we are, bottom left hand corner of my second screen. Catherine is then saying to me that his London group is running a Saturday gathering, a live gathering? Don't know. Anyway, look up Thich Nhat Hanh, online meditation. I don't know if you can see what I can see. The spelling is Thich, Nhat, Nhat, Hanh, Hahn. A very, very famous teacher. If you just sort of looked at the number of publications of different Dharma teachers, Dalai Lama first, I guess Thich Nhat Hanh second. He's a fine teacher. Look, I've been saying all sorts of good things. Oh yeah, okay, thank you, Catherine. Live, but they may have a summer break too. Okay, great. And that's a community of interbeing. I think I'm right in saying that. But if you look up Thich Nhat Hanh, London, you get there. Look, I've been saying all sorts of good things about the Buddhist and the way Wongdu in particular has been supporting us this evening. I would like, while he's still with us, to say thank you very much to Wongdu again, for what you've done. And I think you deserve, Wongdu, a holiday starting now. So thanks ever so much, Wongdu, and thanks everybody for supporting the class and for being here this evening. And please stay safe and come back again on September the 9th. Okay. Cheerio. Take care. Bye-bye.